oversleep, I will oversleep. So we're streaming. 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 Um, I'm supposed to be at least. There we go. There she is. All right. But how have you guys been? It's Tuesday. The old Tuesday, ain't it? I'm gonna try to do some more. Or my main objective is to flirt with the Grim Reaper. I don't know how we're gonna do that. I don't. I just don't know. But we can definitely try. um, we maxed out the ghost skill thing, so I guess I just need to. I don't know. I'm not sure. And then there's the tarot cards and stuff. Oh my gosh, there's the tarot cards and stuff. Jeez. But we'll get there. We shall get there somehow at some point. But yeah, I want this to be like the second to last thing that we can do. I guess the most thing I can focus on is the what's it called? Um, the not tarot cards, the aspiration. Maybe completing the aspiration will help me out here. Um, but yeah, we shall see. So it's Grind City over here. Yeah, how have you guys been? Heard some. Apparently they're gonna re-release The Sims 2 and The Sims 3. Hype! Can't wait. I can't wait. It'll be so fun. Because we've been asking about this for years. Sorry, I'm drinking my tea. Because we've been asking about this for years. I never thought it would be possible, but here we are. Alas, here we are. A few level 7 writing skill. Where's my writing book? Writing. Read this, please. Um, but yeah, I am excited. I'm excited. The question is, they're re-releasing it. Is it gonna be free, or what? Cause like if they updated it, then like the games would run better and stuff like that. I wouldn't mind paying for it. But you know, oh wow, that was fast. Dreams fulfilled. Time comes, can now choose to rebirth. Soul's journey allows her to start anew as a fresh sim, carrying a touch of interesting, interesting. Ooh, has completed Soul's journey as a living sim. Choose to be reborn any moment, unlocking the rest of it. Oh, must be a ghost to unlock the rest of Soul's journey. Okay, so I have to die. Right. Okay, so we need to write a horror book and earn royalties from our horror book. Introvert. True. True, 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 true. Okay. Oh yeah, I have to kill this lady, don't I? Jesus. I gotta kill this woman. I completely forgot. I have to kill my work rival so we can get promoted. Oh god. Abby. Bestie, Miss Westie. What's happening? Um, Alter needs. Field needs world. Nice. Okay. Oh, is this the new thing? Dreams fulfilled. 23 hours. Oh, fun. So I guess it's like the opposite of midlife crisis, huh? Interesting, interesting. Um, right. I need to write a horror book. Can you please repair this thing? I should be able to repair this thing. Why can't I repair it? Hello? Hello? But yeah, I am very excited. I want to see what The Sims has to offer. Oh, there's an option. Replace. There she is. I don't have enough money for this, but we're doing it anyway. We're doing it live. Um, there she is. Wait, no, wait, did it not go through? Hold on, let me try again. Eh, eh. No, not the table. Jesus. I haven't made an heirloom yet, so that's interesting. I guess I could make one before I die, huh? Hello. Um, yeah, I haven't really been keeping up with Sim stuff recently because The Sims Twitter just isn't it. It's very depressing. It's very upsetting. It's very angry. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Everybody thinks their thoughts are unique, and it's just not the case. Let me in. I'm begging for help. I'm screaming for help. Please come let me out. Okay. Right. Obituaries, right genre. Horror. Yay. Let's do it. Let's do it, Missy. Let's go. Yeah, I can't wait. It doesn't feel like it's been that long since I played The Sims 2, but whenever I look at my dashboard, it's like, oh yeah, I haven't played The Sims 2 in a minute. Um, I really shouldn't get more games on my laptop. I really shouldn't, but like I want to. After this, after we finish this, we'll see. Um, if you can play some of that Sims 2. But man, I genuinely didn't think the day would come. We really are lucky as a community. Like we have much more interaction with like the devs and stuff than I think any other gaming community ever, and we really take advantage of that. Like we're eating, we've been eating good for the past 25 years. That's kind of crazy. Like it's actually wild. But yeah, there's gonna be people who complain. Not that there aren't valid criticisms, but damn, imagine sitting on this, everybody being like, oh, give us some, oh, what happened to last year, the year before that, year before that? Why aren't you getting any like presents and stuff? Why aren't you like giving us any new stuff? And then being like, we're gonna give you the best thing ever, but you just don't know yet. Man, I would have been stressed. I am terrible at keeping secrets. Horrific at keeping secrets. Like my god, goddamn. Very flirty. Oh, have fun. I was trying to make a tweet out of that, but I can't think of it right now. Your girl is exhausted. Your girl is tired. Man, I've been wanting to sleep since yesterday. I went on a hike. Well, not a hike, but I went on a extended walking journey on Sunday. For those of you who don't know, I'm trying to do 10K steps a day. I am currently on like a 5 day streak. So far in January, I would do like maybe like 2 days a week of 10,000 steps. But now I'm really pushing it. I'm really grinding it, which is great. Um, but I feel so tired. I feel so tired all the time. I took my iron pills. It definitely helps. But man, that's tough, especially since I have work today. God damn. But we'll get there. We'll get there. She's still reading, making her book. That's good. Oh, wait, she stopped. Okay, is it finished or what? What's happening here? Can I click on it? Why'd you just stop like that? Are you finished? Are you done? Hello, I'm clicking. Hello. God, the Sims is so buggy. I can't wait to play on my computer again. Oh, okay. Right, resume ranting. Yes, please. I don't know why you would stop. Go plant mother-in-law. Jesus. Is that there the way of saying your mom's a llama? I don't even really know what that means. But it's such a good insult from The Sims. I don't know why. But it's great. I'll never get over it. Yeah. Your mom's a llama. Why you no type? Why you no type? What are you doing? What are you on about? Do push-ups? No. God, I hate The Sims. I literally just told you to do the thing. Why are you not doing the thing? Help. Help. I'm begging for help. I'm screaming for help. Please come let me out. Jesus, she got squirrels in her pants. Come on, phone. Come on, phone. Back it. Come on. You know you want to. Thank you. I know the place is haunted, but it is what it is. Who cares at this point? um, okay, after she finished. Oh, why do you refuse to use a laptop? Okay, now you're starting to upset me. Is there a library near here, around here? Let's go to the library. The constant haunting is probably not doing so good for her, so let's try again. I guess she has to have like some kind of stable environment. I guess. Jeez, kids these days, they're so needy. Back in my day, we got adopted by aliens when we were trying to do stuff like this, and we still made it out. Jesus. Weak. Boo. Boo. Okay, we have a cemetery, we have a nightclub, we have a bar. Let's go to the bar. I don't think we've been at the bar yet. Let's go. We're gonna. Oh, did you hear? I mean, I don't know if it's like immediately affected or whatever, but Starbucks apparently is not letting people just like sit in their stuff anymore. I didn't know that people. I thought everybody who did that did order a coffee. Maybe they ordered like one coffee and just stayed there for the whole day. Which is fine. It's more like a hangout spot than anything. But I guess it comes to a point where people like just stop buying stuff and they're just sitting there for the aesthetic, and it's like, okay, you gotta pay your rent. So I mean, I never like, well, I guess I did back when it was okay to drink Starbucks. um I mean, I would just sit there waiting on someone and just like sip my coffee, be on my phone. I would sit there for like an hour and then get out. But I guess there are people who would be there like for the whole day, I guess. Listen, I love spending my money. I can't, like, I literally, I don't go on the road with my debit card. I don't carry cash. I only use my public transportation card to go like to and from places. I can't be trusted with money. I can't be. I simply can't be. Um where do I put this? Yeah, I will sell it. I will buy things. I will buy everything. I'm not allowed to have any money. Fear factor from getting spooked. Spooked by who? Who could have spooked you? Not so bad. Overcoming midlife crisis. Uh, Lasting grief. Remember the good old times? Girl, your wife is still alive. I don't know what to tell you, King. Your wife is still here. Um, is there anywhere I could sit with a table? This looks like it's somebody's house. It's like a house turned into a museum. That's an interesting choice. Can I put this here? Oh, of course not. Why are you making it impossible for me? Are there any benches outside that I can use? Please, hello. Anybody? It's wild. I literally, this is my first time here. I don't know what I've been doing, but I have not been exploring this world at all. It's kind of crazy. Working 1 hour, fine. No. Stop. What if I place in world? Is it possible? Possible. It doesn't look like it. It's canceling. Oh, yeah, she can't do it. Okay. Well, darn. This is a nice place, though. I don't know who made this joint, but it looks pretty good to me. Can't even put it on the... Wow. Okay, so we struck out here, but this is a nice place. This is nice. It is wild that this is my first time here. Like, you think that I usually explore the places, but no. Let me see what's going on. This place is very pretty. I wish it had more sun. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wish it had more sun. Ooh, what's this? Explore the crypts. I want to after you get back from work. After you get back from work. What time do you have work? Oh, you have work now. Okay. This place is gorgeous. I wish it was sunny like Willow Creek. It kind of just looks like a better Willow Creek. I'm not gonna lie to you. Harmon is off to work. Yay! Ooh, what's this? View Tarot Tome Shrine. Ooh. Yeah, this is nice. Ain't no roaches in here or nothing. I love the green. The green is so pretty. It's so gorgeous. It's not fair. Ooh. Sit. Okay, I just have a quick question. Can I put this here? I know you're leaving for work, but like, could I? I can't. Balls. Not tech. Okay. I don't know if you could regularly like use stuff like that or what, but it was worth a shot. Wow, she's going. Maybe I should have given her a bicycle. Are you ready? Going? Why did you slow down? Help! I'm begging for help. I'm streaming for help. Sorry, I watch way too much TikTok. That's the only thing. That's the only way I speak now. Just through references. Is the only way I speak. It's not even like I'm fully doing it right. It's crazy. It's so catchy, but also since they quote unquote banned TikTok and then unbanned it, I haven't seen any Luigi stuff. No like political stuff. I have like they think they're slick. They're not slick. Got a bunch of Nazis on Twitter. We can't have any like leftist momentum on TikTok. Instagram is Instagram. Like they're really trying to shut us down. It's kind of crazy. Well, I'm maxed out, so should give me something good. Bills. We have $500 in bills. That's not the worst thing. Okay. Nice. I wonder, have I looked around here yet? Like my hometown? I don't think I have. Oh, we're right next to a shrine. Ooh, what's this? Hmm. Mm. It looks like a coliseum. Like people's seats would be in here and there'd be stuff in the middle. That's interesting. Fascinate, fascinate. Ooh, I love the, what are they, weeping willows? I think so. God, it looks so good. Or is that a Harry Potter thing? I don't remember where I heard that term from. Oh, it's like a little swamp. Ooh, have we ever had a swamp in The Sims 4? It's swampy. Oh, that's fun. I didn't even consider that. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. Big old house. Oh, this is the town hall. Oh, interesting. Oh, there's a thing over here. Yes. Okay, so we got two, I guess. I don't know how many there are. Got a bench. Riveting, riveting, riveting. Um, I love looking at the set designs for these things. Somebody put their heart and effort into something that a lot of people wouldn't even like take time to notice. Ooh, it's one of these. Explore. Yeah, this is very beautiful. Oh, did the road stop, or is it just not loaded in yet? Oh, it's like it's a, is it in construction or has it been destroyed? I'm not sure. This place is awesome. God, I wish these places were like more explorable. I want to do things. I want to go places. It. I want it to be open world. I know. But I want it to be open world. That what these like areas are so cool, and I feel like we never get to really like see them. It's so fun. It's not fair. Oh boy. Oh brother, these guys stink. Okay, so we got one tomb thing we can look after. We got a tarot card thing. I'm gonna try to do some typing again. Like $600. Cool. And then we'll see what we can do. Let's go back home. Oh, Jesus. Okay. There's less ghosts up here, so I wonder if I just put this up here, if it will make me feel better. It doesn't fit. Okay, I lied. Alright. I'm a dirty liar, apparently. Um, why can't I put this anywhere? Help. Oh. There she is. Nice. Why is it busted? When did you get broken? You were in my pocket this whole time. Oh, God. Repair. Why can't I pay for it to be repaired? Ugh, fine. Jeez, fine. One day remaining to reach your soul quota before Reaper's reports. Happy reaping. Oh, she's gonna get fired. I have not been paying attention to my wife's job at all. She's getting fired. You're fired. You're fired. Okay. So did the tome thing do anything for me? No. Okay. I want to know how many collection stuff I have. Mm. Metals. Postcards. Oh god, there's so many. Space rock. Insects. Tarot cards. There it is. Yeah, we only have a couple. Common, turn to dust. Huh. Interesting. Cozy wreath. Missing sim milk is crazy. Missing sim milk is crazy. Afterlife Anonymous. Group is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. in the neighborhood near the ruins. Ooh. Oh. Like it's right now? Near the ruins. Is it here? Oh, it's a dead cow plant. What? That's so fun. Rummage blindly. Welcome to Wayland's Pumpkin Shop. Rummage. See if you get a tarot card. There's people walking around dressed as the Grim. So what does it mean? What does it all mean? Starting to exploring. What I get? Oh, fun. I'm trying to think. Time capsule, fun. For moon, gotcha. Ghost the grieving sim. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Morningvale neighborhood near the ruins. The question is this Morningvale? I know I saw ruins around the place, but was it ruins around here? Offer food. No. Try to pet it. That worked last time. Woohoo with. Ooh. Oh, did we not do it in the coffin yet? You might not have, honestly. Interesting. So where are the ruins? I know I saw some ruins. Maybe if I go back home and start over there. Oh, wait, is this it? Oh. Oh. Well, hello there. Oh. Continue exploring. Choose the box of life. Choose the box of death. The box of ethereal. Pick the ethereal. Please don't kill me. Warn of danger. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Jesus. It doesn't look like I can do anything here. I don't know if it's finished or what. I don't know if it's finished or if it just hasn't started yet. Okay. Ooh, everything's so green. Oh, that's so pretty. Can I interact with this tree? Ooh. Listen to whispers. You guardian tree. Use intuition. I'm really trying here. I'm really trying. There's so many things to explore. God, I really love this. It's so fun. I'm into it, I'm into it. Nice. Hey, you're still in here. Good for you, queen. Good for you. Love that for you. Hey man, at least she's doing something. A lot braver than I would have been, to be fair. I mean, I was gonna say, what's the worst thing that could happen to you in The Sims? Die? Probably. But she'll be okay. She'll walk it off. No, just rub a little dirt in it. She'll be fine. A place to rest. Sure. I'm trying to find stuff. Give me something. Tarot card, please. I only have 7. I should really get going now. Thanks for hanging out with me. I don't know who you are. I had no idea you were at my house. So, sure. Whatever you say, queen. Whatever you say. I'm going to stream for like another hour. So we'll see what we can do. I'm trying my best not to drink coffee. I had ginger tea. And I finished that. So now I'm gonna have my water, my lime water, my garlic water. I'm so good at this. Being healthy. It's so fun. I haven't saved yet. Should probably save. Hastening in the dog. I'm hastening in the dog. Sorry. Yeah, my lights are on. My fan is not on because it would make me fall asleep. Oh, I thought I heard something. I did, but it was from the inside, not outside. Yeah, man. It's crazy that I used to just function this way, just being this tired all the time. I was like, oh, everybody's like, are you anemic? Are you sure? You are always sleeping. I was like, no, I'm just tired, man. I'm just, staying up playing The Sims 3. That's definitely the only reason why I'm constantly sleeping. But now it's like, oh, yeah, I get a lot of energy just by taking like iron. It's actually pretty sick. But yeah, make sure you guys take your medication, y'all. Talk to your doctor if such and such is right for you. Because it definitely wasn't right for me. I don't want to talk about it. It was extremely traumatizing past week. Extremely traumatizing. Close encounter with death. Don't scare me. I'm sorry. Have mercy. You're on my list. You've been pushing the line, living dangerously. Perhaps you think you're immune to the consequences of your actions. So brave. Perhaps you're just foolish. But let us be clear. You're on very, very thin ice. Your last breaths with death. I'll keep a particularly close eye on you. If you think about stepping into a line, I'll be there to collect your soul. I like you, baby, but as you spend the next few days reeling from your near-death experience, you should know that you're on death's doorstep. You'll be wise to be careful. Your next estate will be your last. Oh my gosh. You can't scare me. Oh, I thought my sim just died. I was like, what the heck? Got dusted. Wasn't finest moments. A few bumps in the bushes. Nothing seriously injured or attempting to escape. Alright, let's hire someone to fix it. Listen to grave warning. is chased by death. Being more cautious around electrical objects would be interesting. Okay. I want to hire a repair guy. Why can't I hire a repair guy? Since I can't pay for anyone, why can't I hire somebody to fix it? Come. Science babies, fire department, to pay bills. Oh, let's not forget, because I will forget. Okay, bills, and then who's that? Hire service. Yep. Okay. I need repair boy. All right. Do these capsules? I wonder if they come with tarot cards. It's the only thing I'm concerned about right now. Give me my tarot cards, please. Hand them over. There's a stick up. Hand them over. Okay, I want real tarot cards so bad. They'll be so fun. It'll be the funnest. The most fun. Are you not entertained? Ooh, she's just sitting by the tree. That's actually kind of baller. That's actually pretty sick. That's actually pretty cool. She's just listening to it. Now that's a meditation. God damn. I would love to sit there, but also it's very creepy. Also, where are the wires for the lanterns? Why is it green? Today is a full moon, so here's what I can share with you, kiddo. Interesting. Know more about the ancestor. Oh god, I'm sure that's great lore. I don't want to read all that right now. She got a Jenny. Technician will arrive 3:30. Giant tree stands before Vivi. Tangled branches. Is that a face? There's a face in it? No way. Where? Ew, there's a face. Oh god, I hate that. Ew. Why you built like that? Ew. It looks so. Ooh, that's gonna be in my nightmares. The fact that I feel like this path is like actually scary. I am scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. It's your final warning for my near-death experience. Why are you inspired by that? I feel like you should be afraid. Time is fleeting for relief to death. A vibe killer. I mean, I don't know if my sim's a vibe killer, but like, he's a killer of some sort. Did I successfully summon Alice? Well, nothing. Okay. Can I become friends with you? Use intuition. Did I do that already? I don't remember. Okay, looks like I did. Okay, let's go home. Or we could go back to what's it called? Hey dude, did you fix my thing? No, you didn't. Why? 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 Why do you hate fixing things? Oh lord, yeah, the place is a little haunted. Get over it. See, you've never seen a haunted place before. What I need to do is go to a library. Okay, because I can't keep fixing this thing. Let's go. Okay, would they have computers at the cemetery? Well, actually, let's go back to the bar. Just so we can check and see. Hold on one second. I don't know if my audio is on. Hello. Oh, it's not. That's why I was like, what the heck? Why I know here? Volume mixer. Needs to turn up. I was like, why is it so quiet? There she is. Hopefully I don't go deaf. It's gonna be a little loud for a second, you guys. Okay. I do wonder. I mean, I wonder what their reasoning is for EA to re-release the Oh, sorry, it's coming through my computer. That's not supposed to do that. You're coming through the wrong place. You're not supposed to do that. There she is. Come through the wrong place. Okay. Right, there's some places around here that I wanted to explore. Okay, let's see what we've got. What are these big old hay things? I love worlds. Gosh, it's so pretty. Mm. They're so cute. Everything is so cute. There's like pathways and stuff. Let me go on like a stroll. I mean, I guess if you go on a run, it would bring you around the place, but I want more. It's not fair. It's so pretty. I want to be able to interact here. It's not fair. Great music. Like such music now. Ooh, there's a telescope here. A tiny telescope. Remember, like when customers are so excited, they got a tiny telescope for once. Pepper's Farm remembers. Observe the sky. Sure, why not? Have her do something in the meantime. Ooh, we got a little cabbage patch. Ooh, we got a. Oh, this is a house. Oh, is it not? Oh, okay. I thought somebody lived here, but I guess not. These places are too pretty. It would be nice if like these places had houses in them, and then you could see a lot more Sims just walking around through the day. That would be so fun. I can't have that. Like when you go to the park in what's it called? In not Silverado, the Spanish one, the love one. If you go over there, people are just automatically like flirting and like cuddling and stuff like that. I want that, but um, with these, like, I want to see people hanging out. I want to see people like jog. I want to see people. I want to see them use it. What is it? Sorry, I want to see them do the thing. Oh, I'm exhausted. Okay, okay, you can stop now. I just want to see you do the thing. I don't have to see it anymore. Acquired logic skill. Yay. Yay. Um, okay, so I did all my bucket list stuff. I want to finish the aspiration and then turn into a ghost. I think that's what I want to do today. I wonder. Should be this access the appearance soul interaction, burning soul traits. Which one of them allows me to? I want to I wanted to do a thing. I wanted to see like if it would let me talk to Grim after this. Um, God, where is this knowledge? Master Vamp. Sorry. Anything about ghosts? Use finding spooky horror movie. Published works. Particularly excited. Encountering ghosts of all kinds, grim and even crows. Okay, so it's basically just a writer's thing. It's weird because it's weird that like there's a life and death pack, and the aspiration is to become a horror movie scriptwriter. That sounds like it sounds a little odd, but hey, it's not my game, so what am I to do? Um, I'm not gonna lie, I might try to get some sleep. I thought I could stay up. I can't. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Um, uh, let me see. It's like, oh, it's only an hour left. Like, going from 3 o'clock to 5:30 in the morning when I know that I have class and then I have work up until 9 o'clock. It's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I only streamed for like what an hour yesterday, and I fell asleep in my class. So, ooh, oh my, gemologist statue, new moon, a meteor struck whispering when the sky. Oh, so it's like powers that came. The place became haunted because it got hit by a meteor. All right, you know what? Cool. That's fair. That's right. Yeah, I'm tired. I don't think I'm gonna raid anybody. I'm pretty exhausted. I was debating whether or not I should stream early in the morning or stream after I come home from work. After coming from work, I'm just gonna want to eat my dinner and go to sleep. So I was like, it's best I do it in the morning. I tried doing it in the morning today. It's not happening. I really don't want to drink coffee, but it might be the solution here. Yeah, I gotta go. Thank you guys so much for being here. I know we didn't do that much. We're really in the grinding phase of it right now. I'm wondering if I should just continue this on my own or what, I mean, you know what? I'll do a guide. I'll get a guide on how to play this, and then I'll probably execute that. But yeah, I can sleep for like an hour and a half. Anyway, yeah, I love you guys a lot. Sorry for the abrupt end to the screen. I'm very tired. I love you guys, and I'll see you whenever the heck I see you again. Okay, bye.